Alrighty, everybody. I'm gonna try another Chess960 match and to see how it goes. I've played a couple more, not too many, but a couple more to kind of get an idea of how they go. And they're not always that successful for me. There's still a ton that I miss. But I'm gonna try just a quick 5-minute game just to see if anyone pops in for a quick short game of some kind of random chess. But I'll pause here and we'll come back if we hook a fish, right? Alrighty. Well, we got one. Let's see what we've got here. Yeah, I think the idea is let's see if we can unlock these particular bishops. This will also unlock the queen. So I think my opponent's looking to castle that way. We could do the same thing. Let's go ahead and control the center. Get both of our bishops out and about. Yeah, this knight's going to be a little bit hard, but let's try something like this maybe. All right, so we've got a little bit of development here. I'm going to go ahead and take with the other pawn. Try to keep this center intact. I was thinking if I had a tactic like this, check, and then maybe swing around and pick up this pawn, but obviously I don't because it's defended. I might use this square here in the future. Don't want to put my queen in front of my king. That would be dumb. Don't do that either. Boy, I don't know where my queen's going to end up. I think we'll start here, and then we'll retreat back. I'm assuming the bishop is going to swing back. Ah, okay. All right, well, let's leave that there for the time being. It is underneath that rook, but let's go ahead and get castled. And now we could swing our rook over. This pawn is free, so we'll be prepared to grab that pawn. And with this move, we have stopped my opponent from castling, which is what we want. All right, now what do we want to do? Our queen is a little misplaced here. Let's try that and see if that gives us anything. So if I make this... Ooh, what did I just drop? I just dropped the whole rook, y'all. That is not what we wanted to do. Not at all what we wanted to do. These are the things you don't notice. This is why we play Chess960, to try to see if we could force in some interesting positions. I have this. So we dropped a rook, but we picked up a bishop and a pawn. I don't know if that's a fair trade yet or not, all things considered. Okay, so my opponent is threatening checkmate. We can develop with tempo. It technically is defended. Now, this knight is overloaded, so I do have to be cautious of that. It's trying to defend two things at once. But I'm just going to rotate my bishop down, I think. Or, you know, maybe even up. Put my own pressure along there. No, because that is defended by that square, so... yeah, probably just rotate my bishop back down. Let the bishop work to defend, maybe. All right, so I think we can just pick up here. So the threat my opponent has right now is, since I have no backline rook, but now, yeah, if I were to capture here, that's checkmate. Well, not quite, but close. Do I have to worry about it yet? Probably. Let me think this through for a quick hot second. Let me grab here. So I'm going to do exactly to my opponent what he did to me. He could grab there, which is fine. But that does give me an opportunity now to take... So I can't move this particular knight just yet. But this is defending it. I'm going to start walking this pawn up, I think. Simplest solution would just be give myself an out. Push myself, yeah. Now I'm threatening checkmate. If my opponent grabs here, I can grab there and defend this other knight. So I'm going to lose this knight. So let's just lose the knight, right? Just give ourselves an escape square. Now all I have to do is start looking at something like this. In fact, if I can just get down on this back row, it's also mate. So my opponent has just given me an excuse. So now I really do need to start watching the time, right? So the time on the clock is becoming a concern. I only have a minute. There is a 5-second increment, so I've got a little bit of wiggle room. Should we have to go into a scramble? I think my opponent needs to drop his rook back. I'm going to come there with check, and then I can pop up here, and I'll be all right. But now there is a threat. And this square is covered. So this should be a winning position for me. Should be. As long as I don't miss anything. Like, this should be it, right? Bink, bink. Checkmate. All right, GG, well played. Okay, so that was a fun game. So that's Chess960. So let's just take a quick peek at the opening position. According to the screen over here, it says this is start position number 245. If you'd like to follow along in your hymnals, start position 245. I know I've said this before, but Chess960 is so named because there's 960 possible variations across this back row. This is variation number 245. I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but the rules of Chess960 is the pawns start in their normal starting position. The play proceeds identically to any other chess. The king has to sit between the rooks. And that's pretty much it. If you want to castle, you must clear the space. Like if I wanted to castle queenside, you have to clear the space between the king and the rook. And then when you castle, the king and the rook end up in the exact same position they would have ended up in normal chess. So a kingside castle means the king would end up on G8, in this case, G8, and the rook would end up on F8. So you'd have this and then this. A queenside castle would be the king would end up on C8 and the rook on D8. Same for white. You would end up with the king on G1, the rook on F1, or the king on C1 and the rook on D1. So for this particular setup, really all I have to do is get these bishops out of the way, and I can castle queenside, move my king to C8, my rook would come around to D8 along this file, or on this particular setup, it would just be move the knight, move the queen, and then I could castle kingside. Sometimes you end up in a position where castling literally is just, doot. You know, you don't really have to do a whole lot. In this case, it's actually very similar to a normal game. Realistically, this knight is really the only one that's crazy out of place. Everything else is kind of in a normal position. You could see my rating is all over the place because I'm still in the provisional. What is this? Oh, maybe you can't see. I'm currently at an 1183, and with that win, I jumped up 100 points. So I'm probably closer to 1300 on my rating, which is kind of where I expect it to be, right? Similar to where my normal chess rating would be. So I'll try to. The only reason I care about rating is because I want to get myself matched up with opponents that have similar skill level, so that way neither one of us is completely blown out of the water. All right, so in this particular setup, my thought process was free up my bishops, which in this game I hardly ever used. Move my queen out of the way, move my knight out of the way, and get castled, because the king is right in the center of the board, which was not comfortable for me. And I definitely tried to make it uncomfortable for my opponent. Control the center. I don't know if the analysis really works on these games. Yeah, you get a few lines, but not a lot. Yeah, I should have developed the bishop immediately. That would have made a smart move. So with both knights on the board, closing the position was an option, and I briefly considered it, but then, like I said, I was looking at this to be able to use the queen to swing back, but this knight happened to be in the exact right position to defend this pawn, and that did not work out at all. Yeah, the engine agrees with me. Getting the queen up there worked out really well. I honestly believe my opponent would swing the bishop back. At this point, technically, I could have grabbed, right? The only problem with this is this is an alignment issue, and it's something to be very cautious about. If, for example, I were to... Yeah, see, I don't have a rook I can slide under, and it's impossible for me to castle. Not impossible for my opponent to castle. So I'm not trapping the queen. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Anyway, don't want to talk too much about this, but you guys heard my analysis over the board. Let's get rid of all this junk. Get rid of the opening explorer. We don't need that. But this was a fun game. This is kind of why I wanted to look at some of these Chess960 things, because I need to learn to see the whole board. For instance, this move, opening up my rook like that, I did not see that at all because I focused on just the center of the board, the things that I was doing, where my knights are going to go and things like this. I did not at all see that I was opening up an attack on my rook. And I need to practice this. I need to practice seeing the whole board. So this Chess960, because the pieces on the back row are in funny positions, I'm hoping that it forces me to take a much harder, longer look at the whole board. Whenever I make a move, look at the full impact of what I'm actually doing. So I'll try to get another game in when I get a chance. Maybe we'll try another one later today. But this is fun. This is enjoyable to me. It's frustrating because I make stupid moves like this and completely drop an entire rook. And notice, that's an undefended rook. I can't even get my bishop back. I mean, I can't even take the bishop back. Yeah, the best I can hope for here, I mean, my opponent at this point in time really should have just retreated the bishop. Picked up his clean. Granted, for this particular game, this bishop was a non-issue, and it just sat there the whole time doing nothing. But yeah, this is only defended once. No, this is defended twice. So if he had not castled, if he had, for instance, let's turn the analysis on, see what the analysis says. A 1.4, if he drops this back. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Like I said, this bishop is technically defended twice. Granted, one of the defenders is the queen, but a rook and a knight. No. A rook and a knight for a bishop and a queen. No, that's not a good trade at all. No, okay. Maybe castling is the correct move here. See, I was thinking if he just retreated and then I grabbed. Yeah, I guess he wouldn't grab, honestly. Okay. I gotta stop rambling. All right, Chess960. Something exciting to try, something interesting to try. I encourage you guys to go try it. Take a look at how this variation on the back row. Like I said, hopefully for me, it's going to force me to look at all of the pieces and keep an eye on my pieces and how they progress over the game, and not just, oh, I can just throw this knight here and not recognize the impact that has. So I'm hoping that playing a few of these random chess games will make me better at structured chess, because I will be keeping an eye on those back row pieces instead of just blindly following a path, an opening move order, right? Following a set line, right? A memorized line. Anyway, all right, guys, I rambled too much. I got my ADD kicked in, and I started looking at lines that I don't have any reason to be looking at, because we're not studying lines here. We are studying, we are trying to view chess holistically, and we're trying to look at our decision-making over the board. Thanks, guys.